I think we are live on this Fun Family Friday. So, welcome, everybody, to another Lunch and Learn. I am your host, Terrell Muhammad, and we are live on our amazing platform, Facebook. So, with that being said, let me um, get ready for the back end here, and let's stop this, and we should be good to go. So, woo, awesome. How are you, Stacey?
Doing great, Terrell. Thanks for having me here today.
All right. Let me do one thing, and then we're going to be ready to rock and roll. Let me just do a brief intro of you as well. But hold on one second as we stop. All right. Okay, everybody, we are ready to rock and roll. So thank you for your patience and dealing with us today. Today, I am so happy and honored that we have the amazing Dr. Stacey Duckett here today with us today. Let me just properly introduce her. Stacey is a certified life coach, a sleep science coach, and a clinical hypnosis who is qualified as a medical evaluator for the state of California. She is also co-chair of the California Chiropractic Women and current president of the California Chiropractic Association of Contra Costa County District. Well, welcome. It is so nice to have you on today.
Thank you so much, Terrell.
Awesome. Let's get started today's Dr. Stacey with kind of where you grew up. Where did you actually grow up?
I grew up right in the Midwest in Toledo, Ohio.
Toledo, Ohio?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And you're now in the San Francisco Bay Area. How did you navigate to the Bay Area?
Well, back then after college, I wanted to go to chiropractic school. And granted, there were a lot of chiropractic schools that were a lot closer to Toledo, Ohio, like, Chicago. But I wanted to come out to California. And back then, not anymore. But back then, the prices were about the same. So, like, why wouldn't I go out to California if the cost is going to be the same?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes. And I loved it ever since. And my mom always knew, she said, when you picked California, I knew you weren't coming back.
Yeah, Cali's kind of hard to to move away from. Do you have any brothers and sisters, or is it just you?
So I have three older brothers,
Okay,
and they're all in Ohio.
okay, okay. They're still out there. Interesting. Where did you end up doing your undergrad?
So I went to Kent State University,
Okay,
and that's about 3 hours east of Toledo. And I had a great, fantastic time. I loved every minute of that.
okay, okay. And what did you end up studying there?
So I have a BS degree in biology slash pre-med, pre-vet, pre-dentistry, basically pre-chiropractic.
Okay,
And they didn't acknowledge chiropractic so much back then, but those are the prerequisites that I needed. So I have a dual major.
okay. I don't think I knew about the biology thing.
I actually started off as chemistry. I actually had a chemistry scholarship. And after like the second year, I was just like, no, man, I'd rather be a forest ranger. I do not want to wear goggles. I don't want to be in the chem lab. So
Really?
yeah. So I was
Wow.
very excited to find my what I wanted to do.
Okay. Wow, I did not know that. Interesting. So you eventually decided that you were going to go down the road of chiropractic. Why and how?
So as a little girl, I think I was like in the second grade, I was after like a softball game, and we're getting our Dairy Queen, like our ice cream. And next door, there was this spine on the door. And I was asking my mom, what do they do? And she's like, oh, those are chiropractors. They work on your backs. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that they do that? Oh my gosh, we should all go there. We all need that. And I always had a complaint or an ache about in my back, but I continued to do all the sports. So my mom always just figured, well, you're not really hurting that bad.
Yeah.
You're not hurting. If you were, you wouldn't continue to do that. But there was an ache. So then later on, I really had a horrible problem when I was playing basketball. I was in the 8th grade. I had a severe injury. And then freshman year, I was going to be playing volleyball, and I hurt my back, and then I had to miss the first 3 weeks of school.
Wow.
Because of it. So eventually I, was able to go to a chiropractor, and I just think, wow, this is wonderful. And I think part of it was not being able to go to the chiropractor.
Yes.
And I always wanted to go. That encouraged me, like, well, I'm gonna actually become one.
So
I just know that it's the right thing to do. I mean, if your back hurts, taking a pill isn't the answer.
uh, so you were an athlete too?
Probably more later in my life. I mean, I always did all the sports in grade school, but I wouldn't say I was like the top star or anything like that. But I always was involved in the sports. And later on in life is when I decided to, I picked up running, and I picked up swimming, and I love that. So, yeah.
So you've always been a runner then. So you've kind of
Not necessarily, Terrell. I quit soccer because there was too much running. And I remember in high school, someone said, what would I tell you if I said later on in life, you're going to run a marathon? I remember her asking me that, and I would laughed at her. I go, never. But then I met a friend, and she had like an Alcatraz swim cap on.
Yep,
and I said, I remember, like, I always thinking like I could do that swim, but I don't want to do it alone. Would you do it with me?
Yeah.
I said, yeah, I'll do that swim with you. And it was really nice to do with my friend, and then actually accomplish that, because I remember my mom had told me before, one time we were in Alcatraz, and when we came back, we were in San Francisco, I said, I think I could swim that. That doesn't look that far away.
So you actually did the run?
Huh?
So you actually did the Alcatraz run?
I did the Alcatraz swim. So the swim.
Oh, that's right. That's the one that goes from the beach. So you actually did it?
Yes, I did. So this was years ago, but I remember when I was when my mom came to visit, she's like, oh, you can't swim that. That's too cold of water, and people drown, and there's sharks in there and all this stuff. Like, no, no, no. But always sat in the back of my head, oh, I know I can. And then so when I saw my friend's hat wearing that Alcatraz swim, I go, did you swim that? She said, yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going with you.
Wow.
It was just I like things like that. When someone says you can't, you're like, oh, really? Let's go check it out. Let's see if that's true or not, because I don't think that's true. And even challenging your own self, when things come up and you think you can't do it, sometimes there's that other little pull in you is like, oh, maybe you can, so go ahead and check it out.
That's good. That's good. That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, it's interesting that you actually have a mindset, because we're going to be talking about mindset of challenging ourselves in some form of fashion. But before we actually get there, when did you decide to open up a business and go in that direction?
As far as the mindset, or as far as regarding that, or regarding chiropractic, or?
Chiropractic first.
Okay. So after graduating from school, I don't necessarily, you're sort of almost forced to start your own practice. It's not so much like that anymore. There's been enough companies that are out there that provide businesses for chiropractors so that they can just come in and work. and they don't have to do the whole thing of running a practice. But back in my day, I had school debt, and I really, I cannot afford to work for someone else. And so you work how to open up your own office as soon as you
Okay.
possibly can and run your own show.
Okay. Okay. So you actually didn't work for anybody. You decided to get in when you decided to go into the industry, you went in as a business owner.
Not right away. So, but it was a very short while where I worked at other locations to really pick up, the ideas of what you need to do, but also to realize, okay, that I don't want to work for someone else.
Yeah, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, well, you've done that for several years, and along your journey, you have written some amazing books. Um, what were the books, and why did you decide to write them?
There. So I've been doing chiropractic for 30 years and over 30 years. And I've also have been like the president of the Rotary Club. Being the president of the Rotary Club made me realize that I like to talk. I joined Toastmasters.
Okay,
Joining
okay.
Toastmasters, you do presentations. So one of the presentations was about me not getting, the right kind of sleep, like what happened to my sleep. And then after I did that presentation, I was like, oh my gosh, I have more than 5 to 7 minutes to say here. I have to share this with people. I can't
Come
say
on.
5 to 7 minutes. I'm gonna write a book. And so I did. And it was during COVID time. I think a lot of people got inspired to be creative. I don't know if I would have ever written the book had I not joined Toastmasters and had perhaps COVID hadn't happened.
Okay, okay.
Definitely put a push to do it further. Maybe eventually I would have written a book, but I think, there's some definitely benefits of that whole ordeal.
Wow.
And then I had done another presentation about getting a divorce, and I thought, oh, people need to hear this too. So I wrote another book. So, and then I have a third book, probably be out sometime, this year. It's already being formatted and everything. So
You you sound like you've always had the mindset of doing things that was uncomfortable for you. Is that true, or did life kind of happen and you kind of developed that mindset?
I think I had to develop that mindset. Like Steve Jobs, he had that one speech that he did at a graduation where he says, like, look at the dots and how they connect. Like his calligraphy became the font, all the different kind of fonts that you have, because he had
Yeah,
taken
yeah, yeah.
calligraphy class.
Yeah.
And I feel like, I had to go out and promote my chiropractic business, and I had to get out there. And then I had to deal with insurance carriers. And I was like the shyest person. That's the last time, Mom, they said this, like I'd call my mom. Oh, they said that. I don't want to go out and like tell people that, like, well, you're gonna have to, it's like sink or swim.
Yeah.
So basically I learned how to swim, and you just put it all together. And then like someone, asked me if I wanted to be president of the Rotary. I didn't say no. I said, I've never been in that position. You're asking me, let's go check it out. Let's see.
I love that. I love that. Well,
You all these little things. Like I enjoyed speaking. Let me do Toastmasters. What else can I do from there? Let's perfect that. And I've been in some contests with Toastmasters. I enjoy it. I have a great time. And then my books came out from that. And then one of my challenges was to, I started getting into running, was to do the Boston Marathon.
okay.
I had to work hard to get that. And then definitely running sports in particular, but running like a marathon, like getting to a certain time, this is an individual sport. You really have, it really comes to the forefront, the two halves of your brain, where the one says you can and the other one says, why are you doing this? We don't have to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why? What?
Yeah.
I'm going to prove to you that I can.
Yeah.
So it's all like a mindset thing too. And then you realize like certain things can happen. Like during that race, the one that I realized 15 minutes ahead of my qualifying time, there's something that happened at that race that I really realized, like, wow, the power of the mind is incredible. If you really take hold of it and tell it what to do, it will believe you.
That's good. That's good. Well, shout out to everyone who is watching live: Courtney, Ida, Andrea, Alicia. It's great to see everybody on here watching live, and those who are watching the replay. Dr. Stacey, you talked about um, getting out of your comfort zone and developing that mindset, and it sound I know you're doing expert coaching and doing all of those things, and you could have done it on a variety of topics. You're focusing mainly on mindset and well-being. Why did you choose those topics in particular?
So, in particular, because I feel as a chiropractor, there's several reasons, but in particular, as a chiropractor for the past 30 years, people come in with pain often and they
Oh,
don't understand
oh,
why they have the pain. And it's because they're not taking care of themselves. That's exactly why you're having the pain in your back. You're not getting up off of your chair often enough. You're not walking around. You're not moving around. You're not taking care of yourself. You're not eating correctly. You're doing all this stuff wrong. And the reason why you're not taking care of yourself, because you don't have the proper mindset. Because if you did and you don't want back pain, you know exactly what you need to do. So that's a big reason. Another reason is that um, for myself, like I was having issues with sleep, and then I I feel like I've conquered that, and I feel like a lot of it is having the right mindset with that. Even like just telling yourself you're not going to toss and turn, you're going to sleep, you're going to
yeah.
figure it out. And I have, and I just feel like there's so many things on the way that we look at things. If we change our thoughts, they'll change your results.
Why do you think we in a society nowadays have issues with our thinking? Not that you have the total answer, but like this is becoming prevalent. Like this is becoming so much of an issue that in the medical world, like mental health has now become a terminology that many people are attempting to solve. Why?
I think everyone wants a better life, but the reason why I think we've always had thoughts issue, and that's because we have two parts of our brain. We have the primitive brain that's trying to protect you and keep you, you're always in danger. You know, back in the day, we were always in danger. We're worried about getting conquered or what have you. We don't have so much of that, but it still exists in us, this primitive brain. Like, always be careful, watch out.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen. And so you have to take control of your prefrontal cortex and have that one be in charge. So you have to acknowledge these other feelings and thoughts that you have, and the feelings that you have because of the thoughts that you're creating for yourself, and basically acknowledge them
Mm.
because they're there. You can't deny that they're not there, and you acknowledge them. It's like you just say it to the back of your head, like, hey, I hear what you're saying, but you go take a seat in the back, and I'm going to drive, and we'll see what happens. But I hear you, but you're sitting in the back. If you totally repress those feelings and those thoughts that you have, then they're going to come back. They're going to come back, and they're going to be right there in front of you for you
Wow.
to deal with, probably in a moment that you don't really want to deal with it, but then
Okay.
you'll have to. So you acknowledge it, but then you want to be able to take control.
Okay.
I feel like if you set yourself up with certain challenges that challenges that thought, that says perhaps no, you can't do it, but you create challenges where you show that you can, then you start building up that other half that believes, well, I've already done that, I know I can do this too.
Okay. Okay. So let me tell you what I hear you saying. One is we need to have a sense of awareness. And that sense of awareness will allow you and I and we to capture our personal triggers and traumas, whatever they may be. Because if we don't have this sense of awareness, then it almost becomes like a blind spot in our life, and we're not able to properly deal with those thoughts, those triggers, those traumas, and those experiences that we may have that is preventing us to evolve and take chances because we're so afraid, because we've kind of put ourselves in a bubble to protect ourselves. Is that close?
It's very close. Right on. So we want to take a moment to observe ourselves and just like, wow. And then if you're not getting the results that you want, why did you create those results? And
Yeah.
let's take a look at the thoughts that you had that created those actions and the feelings that you had to give you those kind of results, and how can we change it? And a lot of times people have a hard time changing their thoughts because they don't believe it. Then you, what we call is a bridge thought. You come somewhere in between the two.
So, Dr. Stacey, how much is our emotions helping or hurting us in our mindset? Because I think, I'm just saying personally, like sometimes it can help, and then sometimes it be driving me crazy. So, like, how much of that can we take control to help our well-being, our mindset, so that we can really create that particular workflow to create a better well-being lifestyle?
Well, honestly, I feel that all the emotions that you have is because of thought that you have created for yourself. And like I said before, like the bridge thoughts are what will help you. So for instance, let's say, I mean, you can give me any scenario and we can go over it, but let's just say I didn't believe that I could run like a Boston Marathon time. I'm just giving
Okay,
you,
yeah, yeah.
and I didn't believe it. Like I really couldn't accept that thought as being true. Let's say if that was the case. Then I could say somewhere between a time that I did run the marathon, like in the past to that time, and say, well, yeah, but I know I can improve my time. I can drop 10 minutes. And then just each time you run the marathon, you get closer and closer. So you keep building that bridge, you keep building that thought. The thought has to be believable, has to be at least somewhat believable to you. It can't be like, no, you can't do it. And you don't believe it either. It has to be a believable thought. So you might not be able to go from make 180 switch, but can you go halfway in between with a thought so you can get the results that you want? For instance, sometimes people in the relationships, it could be, well, they meant that. That's what I think. When they said that, they thought this, and then like, is it?
Yeah.
Is that true?
So,
Or could it be that person actually just cared for you?
yeah.
Is that possible? And then
So,
they'll acknowledge, like, actually, you're right, that's possible. Did you check to see if your thought was correct, or you just went ahead and assumed that your thought was correct? Did you check it with the source? So
so,
people don't realize so many times that everyone has their own manuals of how they want to live, and we also have manuals for each other. And when we have manuals how we expect other people to be, but that's not their manual. Like let's like
oh,
tell
now,
me what your manual is for me before you assume that I'm going to take that role. Like you have a conversation.
now you're speaking my language on operational procedures. And I almost think about like when you are saying that, like sometimes I think of a goal, and if I'm thinking of a goal, but I'm fearful of that goal, I'm looking to other people like yourself, to others that have achieved maybe those goals. That hey, if they can do it, maybe I can do it. Like that's helping to build my confidence in that particular area, industry, or task that I may be able to achieve that. And now I just need to figure out what the steps are to be able to take those action items to get me closer to what my goal and objective is.
Yes. So what do you think that would be?
Yeah, I don't know. I need to
You
figure it
do
out.
know.
I mean, because I'm thinking about like running. I would love to do a marathon, right? Or a half a marathon for that matter. And the steps that I know that I would need to take is to maybe just start jogging, 5, 6, 7 miles per day, like starting there to be able to help build up my mindset and the consistency of it to help me actually go about and achieve that particular goal. And I want to give a shout out to Hadia, Joe, Matt, because Joe said, you can do it. Well, yeah. I, I mean, I think sometimes we have to create the mindset, like we got to create the routine to build the confidence. Would you agree?
Routines are important, yes.
Okay. So if we have the routine, then we can start scaling our routine to help us push ourselves to a better mindset that protect us from our past traumas and triggers.
Right.
Like
But
how do we get over traumas and triggers?
you have new thoughts about them, and you accept where you're at, you accept what happened, and then you have new thoughts. You turn it around. You make lemonade, right, from the lemons.
So we don't change
I
the
mean, you've done
experience.
that. You've
We
done
don't
that
change
with
the
your talk the other
experience.
day, right?
Wait, say that again.
I said, you've done that. You've taken lemons and made lemonade out of them. You shared your story.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
incredible. That's
yeah, but
incredible.
yeah, but I still go to them dark places.
We all do. That's a primitive brain.
I know, and that's sometimes hard. So I almost think that sometimes we have to like purge it out. Okay, so here's my thinking, or here's my theory. My theory is everybody's um, experience has to be purged out based on their personal traumas and triggers, right? So my traumas and triggers may be deeper than someone else's. So I have to work even harder to purge those experiences, least they tend to come back and get into the driver's seat of my life.
Yeah, you know what? I I think that's just your thought. I think you can make up your mind as quickly as turning the lights on and off.
No, and I believe
Or
you.
you create, if you don't want the light on full blast, like changing your thoughts, then you have the light with the dimmer,
I
right? Okay, I'm
know,
gonna put the dimmer on and off.
I
Like,
know. I just think sometimes I want like a blue pill. You know what I mean? Like I can take a blue pill and just be like, everything is done and finished. Like I don't have to deal with the traumas and triggers. I
okay,
mean,
so you know what that's dealing with though? That is not facing what is. That's not accepting yourself or what the traumas that you've gone through. That's running away from it.
so what you're
Maybe
saying is
that'll help
face,
you in your half marathon.
yeah, yeah. Okay. um, let me get off of this coaching platform here. Okay, so you're now doing coaching in mindset and well-being. What do you hope to achieve in this space? Like what type of impact do you want to make in the next several years?
Well, I want to be able to help out. In particular, I do have passion for women who are in their midlife
Okay.
and are working. So in companies, but midlife people as well, like in companies in particular, to help out companies with their managers and helping them to be able to prosper with the things that they want to accomplish. So if something happens, I'm sure it happens for men too, but in particular for women, I think a lot of things occur. Their kids, if they have kids, have grown up or they're in college or they're leaving from home. So then they're at home. Now what's next? Or maybe they never went to work. which is a rarity if you're in California. But let's say you're the woman, you never went to work. Now you're thinking about, well, what am I going to do? Maybe you want to go back to work, or maybe you've been working all these years, but you want to do something different. Maybe you want to still stay with the same position, but you want to make a different, like a leap up, or step into incorporating some of the things that you want to do. So let's find out what your strengths are, and let's use your strengths so you can learn to incorporate that in the things that you do, whether it's at work or at home. And let's get you to the point so that when you are there's no regrets of not doing something that you wanted to do. Especially, that's the last thing I want. As you know, like my ex last year, he had passed away. It was so when that happened, that was in 2022, I think. It was like a year ago. It was in October. When that happened, it was when we all know that we can go at any time.
Yeah.
But when it's that close, you're like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Like that can happen. And I haven't gone on a lot of vacations. I've gone places, yes, I have, but I've never taken like a huge amount of time off.
Yeah.
And someone asked me recently, do you want to go to Asia? We're gonna go to the Philippines. And then I said, they've asked me before. I've always said no. This time I said yes. Yeah. We're going. Just do more of what it is that's really true to you, and that's what's really important to you.
That's good. That's good. Before we wrap up, Courtney had a question here that said, Stacey, thank you very much for your talk today. She says, I was just going to ask the question, for a person that are in their mid 40s and 50s and 60s, how to live their best day. Like, how do you live the day to your fullest?
Well, there's several things. One of them would be to get enough sleep, right? To get enough sleep, you're going to start your day out a whole lot brighter. And then if you have things scheduled and you can stick to a routine, you get all the important stuff done. Schedule you first. So as you take 1 hour out of the whole entire week, and it doesn't matter what day you want to plan it, but you plan that whole week. But first, what you schedule is you time. What is that? Is that belly dancing for you? Is that going to the spa? Is that going to get a massage? Is that running? What is that you time? Schedule you first. It's just like they tell you when you get income, you keep that 10%.
Yes.
You pay yourself first. But what are you doing with your time? Are you just giving your time to everybody else? Then you don't have any time left for you.
That's good. That's good. I'm gonna have to change my morning routine up so I can get my massages and everything else in the morning first. Oh, that is good. That's good.
You feel better. You took care of yourself. Like, wow, you did something for you. So look at it. What is it? And are you using your strengths? You have that unique evaluation that you did on me. Something like that. Some kind of character strength test, and see what are your strengths, and then start implementing those in all that you do. But I think that's the key thing to have a really wonderful life in your 40s and 60s is if you have kids, they most likely, I would hope, that they have driver's license. They know what to do. This is their life now. Yeah. That's loosen up that cord.
Yeah.
And take care of you first. I think so many times, especially moms, they take care of everybody else. They're the last one to get sick. They take care of the kids. They take care of everything. So, and if you don't have kids, you still, you're in your 40s and 60s. Are you doing your life the way you want? Or is there something that you're annoyed with because you didn't have time to do it, because you never scheduled you in?
That's beautiful. Stacey, Dr. Stacey, where can they reach you, follow you, all of that wonderful good stuff? This has been a really, really great conversation, and I feel like we're gonna have to have you back.
I would love to have you back.
This would be a fun conversation because my mental sometimes always need some guidance and so forth. So this has been really, really good. So where can they find you?
Okay, I will tell you where you can find me. First, I just want to say one thing. So all those little mental blocks, sometimes they come up because that's your primitive brain, but acknowledge it and just realize, because this happened the other day, and I realized I actually what it did is like, wow, I really have compassion for those people who are like that because I totally understand them. I could do that in a heartbeat too. Like it gives you some compassion for other people who you felt what they felt. So don't beat yourself up about that. And then to reach me, you could always Facebook Messenger me. I'm sure I'm one of Terrell's contacts. And then also my website, staceyduckett.com. There's a section up there that says coaching. You can always book. I always do like a free consultation for a coaching session, so you're more than welcome to book me there as well.
All right. Well, guys, thank you very much for tapping in today on this Lunch and Learn with Dr. Stacey Duckett on mindset and wellness. We'll catch you next week. Take care.